Hello everyone, my name is Amber. Welcome to my channel, Amber Reads Romance. Today I am here with another weekly wrap up. I'm going to go over all the books that I read this last week, which I read 11 books. So let's go ahead and quickly dive into my weekly reads. Okay guys, so I had a really good reading week this last week, and a lot of it had to do with the trick-or-treat readathon that I joined. And it's mostly just on Discord. It's not really YouTube booktubers, I don't think. So they actually had extra points for like the last weekend that it was going on. So I read a lot more. They had reading sprints on Discord, which I had never done reading sprints on Discord. I've always been part of like readathons where it's like booktubers. So we just do reading sprints on YouTube. So I thought that was really interesting and it was kind of fun and pushed me to read more. So I did get 11 books read this last week, which is a little bit more than my usual. I try to hit like 7 a week at least. So that was fantastic. I got a lot of reading done. If you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment and like the video. Really trying to grow this channel, so all the support you can give is appreciated. All right, let's get started. So the first one that I'm going to talk about was actually a 12 Recs from 12 Friends, and this was Ghosts of Halloween by Layla Faye. Now, this is actually a bind up of like a few of her, like, because she usually writes kind of like novellas, I think, and maybe some, I think I've read like one book of hers, and it's kind of like monster romance type of stuff. So this is actually like the 0.5 to 3.5 because it also does include like a Christmas novella smut thing too at the end. But anyways, this is a why choose reverse harem type of situation with some vengeful spirits. So in this we have Harlow, and she has she's been through some bad stuff. She lost her brother. He was killed, and I don't think they ever like really caught the killer and everything. And she's kind of in a really dark place. And she's kind of going to go to the place where he got killed, which was kind of like this decrepit, like haunted, like mansion type of thing. And so she's going to go there to like end things. And it happens to be 3 vengeful spirits that were best friends with her brother that also died that blame her for their death. And so they plan on doing a lot of dubious consent, non-consent, sexual things to her, and then maybe killing her at the end of the night so then they can be free because they've been trapped in that house since their death for reasons. And so basically this is just a smut fest, okay? And I think it might have been better if I read like the novellas spread out or something, but they're all like put together and it's just constant sex. And I didn't even really believe them as all being together. Like 2 of the guys there, this is MM action in this too, because 2 of the guys get together sexually and stuff. And I just didn't buy into the whole relationship because there's Jack, Caden, and Silas, and Jack actually crushed on her. Harlow was his best friend's little sister, so he can never really go there. But that night that he died, he had told her to meet them at this place that they were going to be at, that haunted house. And he was going to like, he wanted to be with her. Harlow's a little bit of a, I hate to say it, I don't want to slut shame, but she's pretty slutty, okay? She has random hookups with people. She's, you know, just kind of, that's what she does. And she had an assault happen that same night. And so she does have some trauma, but she can't get off sexually anymore. I don't know. It's just a mess. I ended up getting the audiobook for this, and I'm glad I did because it helped it move along. It was so long because it was all of them put together, plus like another Christmas thing of them at the happily ever after, but during the holidays all together. And it was just so many chapters of just smut. So, you know, I didn't really love this. I don't need in my life at this point, I don't need repeated sex scenes with no good character development, no like love feelings, no like emotion. I just get bored of it. So I ended up giving this one 2 stars, and it did have 4 chilies, but I honestly didn't even care about the sex scenes anymore. I was like kind of zoning out. I was pretty bored. I will have a vlog of this because I did vlog I'm vlogging all my 12 Recs from 12 Friends books, so that will be coming soon. Don't know when. I'm always delayed in getting my vlogs up. But anyways, yeah, that was that. I read it. It was a lot of smut. If you like something for Halloween, they wear masks. There's dubious consent, sharing scenes. There's a lot of smut in this. If you want that, that's something you're looking for, you might really enjoy this. Or just read the novellas separately. Hopefully you can get those and they're not only just the bind-ups anymore. I don't know. But anyways, that's that. The other one that I read, this was like continuing the weekend reads that I was reading for the readathon, was Space Vampire by Ruby Dixon. This is part of like this novella series for, it's like Scared Sexy, and they have them on Kindle Unlimited, but like read and listen for free if you have Kindle Unlimited. So it's like 77 pages. It's super short. Listen to it super quick. So it was perfect for like the readathon to get like extra points. And this is, just perfect Ruby Dixon. So this is between Vlad and Dana. Dana is a human woman that has been captured. And she's kind of like the pet to one of these aliens on this spaceship. It's like a scientist spaceship. They're doing lots of things on this ship, and she's like his pet. And so she actually kind of goes away and hides in like a storage area or some area in the ship to kind of get away from everybody. And she ends up waking up there and coming out, and everybody had abandoned this ship. And it was because one of their like creations got out, and that is Vlad. And he is basically like a spliced, cloned vampire that they created, and now he's out, and he was like hungry and needed blood, and now they're stuck on the ship together. So it's a very sweet, cute little quick novella of them realizing we need to help each other to survive. She's giving him some of her blood, and they're like mates, and they're super cute together, and they need to get off this ship before those people come back. So I really loved it. It was super cute. I mean, it's super short. I wanted it to be longer, or as long as her like Ice Planet Barbarians, like a couple hundred pages or something. I just kind of wanted a little bit more, but it's just because it's cute. And so I had a good time. So I ended up giving it 4 stars, 2 chilies. Okay. So then I had the ARC and ALC, but I mostly was just doing the ALC of Beyond the Blue Horizon by A.L. Jackson. Now, I've really loved this series. This is the 4th book in the Moonlit Ridge series, and this follows a group there. They used to be an MC, but basically they've come together and they have this, I think it's called Sovereign Sanctum, and it's kind of like this underground way of helping domestic abuse victims. So like it's mostly women. They're freeing the women and like their children to get them new identities and get them a safe place to go to get away from their abusive husbands or whatever situation they may be in. And so each of the guys has a different job. And this is Theo's romance. And Theo actually runs this motel. It's kind of like rural with like little cabins and stuff. And 2 of the cabins are set up for these victims to be able to stay there while they're waiting for all their documents or getting them ready in their transition to get to the next place. So he actually runs into Piper, and Piper is a single mom. She is a woman on the run. She ends up getting kind of going off the road in this blizzard or not blizzard, but like snowstorm that's happening. She's with her grandma and her, I think her kid's like 2.5, if I'm remembering correctly. I can't remember how old her kid is. But they kind of get run off the road when she was driving, in the snow. And Theo sees this, and so he actually goes to help them and offers them a place to stay. Piper's very paranoid and very anxious and like doesn't trust anybody because she is a woman on the run because of what happened in her past. And so she doesn't really want to go with him, but like they're in a really bad situation, so she does. And she really like pushes back a lot on Theo's help, but he ends up putting her up in one of those cabins. That's kind of supposed to be for the Sovereign Sanctum. So, she's going to be staying there and he's going to try and help her. She ends up kind of realizing her grandma's like, we need a place to settle. We can't just keep going from place to place, always on the run. This might be perfect situation. Maybe that's why we went off the road, why Theo found us. Maybe we were meant to be here. And so, you know, she's thinking about, can I settle here or will it be too dangerous? Will the person from my past come find me here? So that's kind of the setup of this. And Theo and her basically, you know, he's trying to help her and she's meeting all like the girls of the group and kind of becoming friends with them and getting a job with one of them and seeing if she could settle there. We kind of get flashbacks to both their pasts to see kind of like why she's on the run and what happened with him in his past and why Theo feels like he can't really be in love. He doesn't deserve it because of something that happened from his past. But this was very good. But I had a lot of issues with it because of the audio. So I had the ALC. So I did have some issues with the narration, which is really rare for me. With A.L. Jackson, I actually prefer her audiobooks usually to reading them physically because of her flowery prose and like how goo goo gaga, like it's so much the way the guys speak. It's like, it's just very flowery and sometimes it doesn't feel like an MC guy would speak like that. But when it's an audiobook, it sounds better. So usually I love her audiobooks, but I had an issue with the narration from the heroine for this. So this had dual narration by Teddy Hamilton and Kit Swan. Teddy Hamilton, amazing as always. But Kit Swan, I had a big issue with. She really made this kind of a struggle for me where I docked a star for it because it took me out of the story. I was constantly noticing what she was doing and it made me kind of like weird. I can't totally, it's hard to explain, but basically she played, her voice had tremors, breathiness, like she constantly sounded like she was going to have a mental breakdown. She was so anxious, so distressed, so upset in every scene though. That's okay if it's like in the suspense scenes or when she's first meeting Theo and she's nervous by him or whatever, but like every single scene that she is in, she sounds like she's about to have a meltdown. And that really bothered me. Like it really took me out of the story. It made it so it's like, well, she literally sounds unhinged, mentally, like gonna lose it, gonna cry over everything. She's always anxious, always pushing Theo away and has this, oh my God, voice. Sorry, that's a horrible impression, but it was troublesome for me. The story was really good. It does have the typical romantic suspense, you know, that you expect in these from A.L. Jackson. So I think if I read it physically, I might have enjoyed it more. But again, I don't always love reading her physically because of the flowery writing she does. So maybe not. I don't know. This was the only audiobook of hers that like the narration didn't work for me. So just got to give it to you real here. And I did put that all in my review because I, you know, am doing a review for the audiobook. So, you know, I got to keep it real and tell you, like, this one just took me out of it. Like, it really wasn't great. I wish it would have just been Teddy Hamilton. But anyways, so I ended up giving this one 4 stars. And it was 3 chilies. Okay, so now it's that time of year where we're going to start getting these holiday romances. I'm not a big Christmas holiday like chick, but I do like listening to them on audiobook. I just find them more enjoyable. I don't usually pick them up to read physically most of the time, but anytime I can get like an audiobook for these, I will. So you'll start to see I'm requesting more of these for the holidays. Here is some ALCs. So I did have My Favorite Holidate by Lauren Blakely. I think this is a re-release maybe for her, if I'm remembering correctly. I actually have 2 of her holiday romances this month. So I haven't read the second one yet. That's later. But I think this might have already released previously, but she re-released it. I think. Sorry. But this is actually How to Date number 5, and it is a cute little holiday book. This is between Wilder and Fable. And this is kind of like a workplace, fake dating, Christmas time book. It's really cute. It honestly gave me like major Hallmark holiday movie vibes, and I just really had a great time with it. So in this, Fable works for Wilder. He is a billionaire and he is her boss, and he's a single dad, and she actually caught her boyfriend cheating on her with like at I can't remember, it was like a work event or party or something, and I think it was like the caterer. She literally watched him hooking up with her, and so she was like totally horrified. But he like is friends with like this group for her sister's upcoming wedding. So he's going to be at this wedding. And so her boss Wilder is also going to this wedding. But his aunt keeps trying to set him up with people, and he just wants nothing to do with that. And so when he hears about what happened with her, they kind of come up with an idea of fake dating, so that he doesn't get set up constantly, and that she doesn't have to be like alone while he's there, because I think her ex was actually gonna bring the girl he screwed at that party. So it's just, he's a douchebag. He is a douchebag. So Wilder has actually been crushing on Fable for a while now. It's just that, you know, she worked for him, and so he wasn't ever going to cross those lines. So this starts up their cute little romance. It's like kind of like this Christmas wedding, but also I think they were doing like a lot of games and stuff. I think I'm remembering that correctly, because I've read a few holiday romances lately, so I'm hoping I'm not mixing them up a little bit. Sorry. But this one was really cute, really quick little read. It was duet narration by Jason Clark and Samantha Brentmore, who are fantastic, but it also has a full cast. So like, I'm not bringing up all of them. Sorry, I just saw a message on my phone. I'm not bringing up all the narrators, but Teddy Hamilton actually did her ex's voice, and I was like, I fucking hate you. And so it was like, for once, I hated a Teddy Hamilton character, but that's how good he is, you know? He just played the douche card really well in this. So I ended up giving this one a 5 stars and 3 chilies. It was super cute, fun holiday read. If you want one of those, if you love holiday romances, pick that one up. You don't have to read, I don't think, any of the other books. I haven't read any of the books in this series, so I think it would be fine for you to pick that up. And the audiobook was fantastic. Okay, so then I had When Hearts Unravel by Victoria Lum. This is her 6th and final book in the Orchid series. If you follow me, you know I love Victoria. I am on her ARC team. I have an interview with Victoria. If you ever want to go see more about Victoria, this is like my only author interview I've ever done. It was my first time doing it. Check it out. I'll put it up here so that you can go check it out if you want to watch that later. But Victoria Lum is amazing. I love her, and I love this series. I've had 2 6-star books in this series. So, I mean, I just love it. So this is the final book, and we're finally getting to Rex Anderson. This series follows the Anderson brothers. They have the Orchid, which is, they're really rich, very influential family, and they have like the Orchid kind of like caters to the elite. It's like this one-stop shop of like restaurants, hotels, kinky sex floors that they can do different things on. So that's kind of what this family is. So Rex is actually kind of seen as the party boy. He is the one that's the life of the party, always the jokester, kind of a player, just hooking up with random chicks, never settling down. But in this, we can see that that is all a facade, a mask he wears to kind of cover for his trauma, because his mother actually died when he was really young and he blamed himself. We don't find out till later. Like, I think it was in the previous book. I think it was. No, it might have been 2 books back, but before, how the mom really died. But he thought it was his fault that his mother died. It wasn't really, but it was very traumatic for him. And so he had a lot of issues with that. And he also has trouble like sleeping. He has like this memory where he can remember everything. I can't remember what they called it in this, but it's very vivid. And so he'll dream about his mother dying like every night. And then he also feels guilty because there is this thing that Victoria Lum has introduced in the previous couple books, and that is called the Association. And this is like a secret society that is very bad. And they've been trying to get the Andersons involved. They don't want anything to do with the Association. They're horrible, evil people. And so Rex had tried to help a woman get away from the Association, and she ended up dying. And so he blames himself for that as well. So he's carrying around a lot of guilt. He has PTSD really. And he also, is not sleeping, and he's taking these like pills to keep him awake. And so they aren't even on the market. He's getting them on the black market, and he's constantly popping these pills. So he is a mess. He's a mess. So he is actually, really smart, very intelligent, and he had started up this new project of his, which is going to be an orchid, like European cruise. And so that's about to kick off, and he kind of makes a scene at like a party for it. And his brothers are like at their wits' end with them. They're like, you need help. You can't go on this cruise because you're out of control. And so he basically, has to see a therapist on the ship. So that's when we have Olivia step in. So Olivia is a family friend. You've seen her in previous books, but she is a psychiatrist, and they ask her to be the psychiatrist for the cruise. And then more specifically, see him for a certain amount of sessions while he's on the cruise to kind of help him. Her and Rex are kind of like really drawn to each other. She's very attracted to him. She is, has trauma from her past. Her twin had killed herself. And so she has a lot of anger and just, she always felt like she had to be something she wasn't to make up for her twin. And so she's got her own things. But she really sees through his facade and sees through the mask that he's trying to show to the world and is trying to help him. And so this is kind of their romance. It has a really cool setting of like this European cruise, all these different locations they're going on. He's also trying to help another woman from that's escaping the Association, and she's going to be on the cruise. So there's that kind of suspense element tying in. And so I had a really good time with this one. It wasn't fully a 6-star for me, but I still really loved it. It does have a lot heavier topics with his mental health issues. I did see a lot of it, the twist, I kind of called it with the mental health issues from the start, but, that's kind of, that happens for me. But I really did enjoy their connection. They were really sweet together. I loved how much they were trying to like help heal each other and all of that. And we do deal with some good parts in the 3rd act of Rex actually trying to get help with a therapist and really work on himself, which I appreciated. So I ended up giving this one 5 stars. And 3.5 chilies, and it was fantastic. Now, this is leading into a new series for her, which is going to be with a character that I've loved that's been introduced from multiple books in the Orchid, and he's kind of like a mafia man, dark kind of guy, but he wants to bring down the association. He was working with Rex in this one. And so now we're going to go into a new series about that. So I can't wait. I'm excited for her to try like mafia, darker vibes, secret society vibes. So that'll be really fun. Anyways, loved it. Okay, so then I had an ALC for Take This Heart by Willow Aster. This is the first book in her Windy Harbor series. This one was really cute. It's setting up a new series. I think it was in Minnesota. I can't remember the total like location of what it was, but I guess it's Windy Harbor. It's like a fake city, whatever, but it's in Minnesota. And this is between Milo and Goldie. And Goldie, they both like previously met at like an art exhibit thing they did, and they kind of clashed, but they end up kissing at the end of like their, you know, bashing heads moment. And then now Goldie comes home to help out with her father because her father wants to start this new project, this new kind of construction, big project that he's planning that his wife always wanted to do. And her siblings are kind of called to kind of help out. They don't all live there, but she kind of comes back, and they also find out that their father does have cancer. And so she really wants to spend time with her father and be there for him and help him with this project. And he actually ends up hiring on Milo because he's an architect. And so her and Milo kind of end up having to work together very closely on this. And so, you know, they're kind of like, we find out their families are kind of like rivals. And, you know, Milo doesn't really care about this rival situation or whatever, but there's all this drama kind of going on with that. But yeah, there's some miscommunication, confusions a little bit with like the heroine. But it's basically them working together and kind of, you know, falling for each other through this. So this has cute small town vibes, but I just didn't totally love it. I thought it was cute. It was a good setup to the series, but I did get kind of like checked out at certain points. So that's why I'm not as detailed on everything in this review. But I ended up giving it 4 stars and 3 chilies. It was duet narration by Christian Fox and Andy Arndt. So the audiobook was fantastic and I had a good time with it. Okay, so then I had another ARC and ALC for All This Time by Harlow James. I've just discovered Harlow James this year. I just read her previous series. I can't remember the name of it, sorry, but I really enjoyed it. So I was excited to try a new series from her. This is the first book in the Blossom Peak series, and this is between Fletcher and Lainey. And Lainey had a crush on her brother's best friend when she was a teen. And things kind of happened. It's kind of a second chance, but they weren't ever fully together, but they liked each other. But there's kind of like a miscommunication and like her overhearing something that kind of broke her heart and that kind of thing but they were like teens, so I was more forgiving of the miscommunication. But basically it left her brokenhearted and they haven't spoken to each other in 12 years. And now Fletcher is a pro NFL player and he's returning home for his friend's wedding. And so Lainey kind of like wants nothing to do with him, but they end up getting forced together because they are like the best man and maid of honor. And for some reason, they are the ones that have to like go do cake testing and all this planning. I don't really get that because wouldn't the bride and the groom do all that stuff? But I don't know. That's the setup of this, so I'm just going with it. So they end up spending a lot of time together, kind of to go for this wedding and stuff. And she, you know, has a salon that she runs and he keeps coming there to get like massages. And like he also like hacks into her app, kind of gets a login for her app to check her glucose levels. So he's always on top of her about eating good, and he's just starting to like show all these like actions of how much he really cares for her. And so they start to really spend a lot of time together. And they were going to kind of be like a friends with benefits, like hookup situation while he's there. But of course, they're going to kind of catch feelings. And once they kind of discuss and figure, like, finally talk about what happened and why she like cut contact with him and was upset with him, then it like, and you can kind of see why she would feel that. Like, it was understandable how hurt she was. Then they finally can kind of reconnect. It's just really cute, small town, cute vibes, good setup to the series, and I had a really good time with this one. This one was duet narrated by Teddy Hamilton and Samantha Brentmore, two of my favorite narrators, so they were fantastic together. The audiobook, I think I listened to this like in a day. I couldn't put it down, and so it was just super cute. There's not too much angst. There's just the like, when are they going to talk about what happened in their past? But that always happens with those. So I did really enjoy it, and I ended up giving this one 5 stars and 3 chilies. Okay, so I have another holiday ALC that I had, and this is Hostel for the Holidays by Erin Hawkins. I just read Erin Hawkins for the first time this year. I think she had like that one book that was like a Olympic swimmer romance, and I just adored it, and I was really into this. I actually think another Must Love Audio is actually offering up another novella, so I'm going to try and sign up for that because she has another holiday novella that they're offering. So I actually did get this one through Must Love Audio, and this is between Jasper and Stella. And so this is a really it's a novella, so it's a really quick listen. I listened to it in one sitting, and this is like kind of like they were childhood rivals. They were always like butting heads, competing with each other, kind of had this antagonistic relationship, and they end up running into each other on the plane on the way home for the holidays. And they were like neighbors too, so they were just always competing, and they end up coming to an agreement to do this weird like fake dating thing. It's kind of like a weird situation. I think it was like was it like a family member? Now I can't even fully remember, but I think that they were going to try and just fake date for the holiday. Sorry, I can't fully remember why. But really, like, she needed it. Oh, yeah, okay. She needed it because this one guy at her kept hitting on her and kind of like trying to be with her, and she wasn't interested and he wasn't getting it. And so he offers up that, and then he just pretends like he needs it. But he doesn't really need to fake date because he's actually been pining after her this whole time. So if you love a he falls first, pining hero, well, it's a quick, little cute holiday novella where, you know, they're getting kind of pushed together too. It's just super cute. I loved it. So this one is duet narrated by Connor Craze and MK Blackwood, and I gave it 5 stars and 2.5 chilies. Super cute, quick holiday novella. Had a great time. I keep saying had a great time on these. Sorry. That's like repetitive. Anyways, I thought it was super cute, and I would definitely recommend the audio. Okay, so then I read Smoky Darling by S.J. Tilley. I've only read the Alliance series, which is her Mafia series, so I really wanted to try something else of hers. So I ended up picking this one up, and it wasn't that great. I mean, I felt like it was really drawn out. It just kind of felt like it was going on, and I didn't really connect with the characters or feel the connection or anything. It was very insta-love. But this is between Beckett and Eloise, and Beckett was her, I think her brother's best friend, if I'm thinking correctly. But it was like an 8-year age difference. And so it starts out with her being like 7 in love with him. So obviously he wouldn't look at a 7-year-old. But she crushed on him like forever. And then now we're in her 30s, and they run into each other because she is a teacher, and they're doing this camping trip, and he ends up being one of the guide kind of guys there. And so they end up reconnecting, and he becomes obsessed with her and is sharing the tent with her and getting her off, and then kind of going after her and when they get back to the real world type of thing. There's a few miscommunications that the heroine makes. There's, I don't know. It was really boring to me. It felt like it dragged on and on. I did listen to the audiobook for this, and I have to say, I am so sick of S.J. Tilly's short chapters. It's not as bad if you read it physically, but in this, like, literally one chapter just says, fuck. That's it. And it's like this long pause, chapter, blah, blah, blah. Fuck. Chapter, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, so I don't get why she does that. It just doesn't flow right for me, especially for audiobooks. So it's just kind of confusing. So I was okay. I didn't fully invest in this story. So I ended up giving it 3 stars and 2.5 chilies. Okay, so this one was a highly anticipated one for me that I had waited for forever. I requested it on Libby because I saw a lot of booktubers talking about it, and so I really wanted to give it a try, and that is The Wolf King by Lauren Palphreyman. I think that's how you say it. Sorry. But this is the first book in the Wolf King series. And this does end on a cliffhanger. So just be aware. I want to get the second one, but I want the audiobook. So I did another hold in Libby. So I don't know how long it'll be till I get to this. I might just get it on Audible if I can't wait anymore. But I'm kind of okay waiting a little bit because I don't think the third book has come out. And the second book ends on a cliffhanger too. So I just want to warn you, it's not finished yet, I don't believe. And, you know, they end on cliffhangers. But this is I had so much fun with this kind of werewolf fantasy type of romance. So in this, we have Aurora. She's Princess Aurora. She is being set to an arranged marriage for, you know, the kingdom or whatever. And he's a horrible, horrible man. And the opening of this, they're kind of at like, it's kind of like you think of werewolf gladiator type of fighting situations going on, plus like executions. And in this, they're going to have like this younger, like, you know, beta, not an alpha werewolf get killed by an alpha, and they're forcing them to do this. So these people are in prison. These werewolves are in prison, and they're forced to do this. And so he's about to kill this, you know, younger wolf, and she basically stands up and she's like, stop, you know, don't do it. And so the alpha sees her like, stop this, and he you know, really zeroes in on that. And so her betrothed is very irritated by her, but it stops the proceedings. And he's pretty cruel, where he's like, oh, if you have so much, you know, empathy for these werewolves, maybe I'll put you down in the kennels with them after we're married. And he's just disgusting. You know, you don't want this chick to marry this guy. But she sneaks down to the kennel, like the prison area that these werewolves are held. And she ends up going to she wants to help mend the guy that, you know, he was pretty badly beaten. And she runs into the alpha there, and she's helping them. And so she ends up kind of having an interaction with him, going back to bed. And later that night, he ends up attacking the castle. So he was there to be there on purpose. They need something that her betrothed has something important in this stone thing that's important to their Wolf King. And so he had gotten captured on purpose. And so they can't find it. So, and they're attacking everybody there. So he ends up going and capturing her and taking her captive, because he figures they can kind of use her as a bartering thing to get that later. But he needs to take her to his Wolf King. So he's not the Wolf King, but he knows the Wolf King. And so they go on this journey to get her to him and see what they can do to try and get this important artifact that they need. And so this is their romance. And I loved it. So his name is Callum. He's very like, it gave me so many Highlander, like historical romance feelings, because he's like kind of Scottish, wearing a kilt. The werewolves can't change like at will anymore. They could only do it with the full moon. And so that's kind of what's important about this artifact they need, because then it could help them change whenever they want to. So that's kind of what they're looking for. When they get to the place, the Wolf King isn't there, so they're having to wait for him to come back. And she's in a dangerous position, because if they knew who she really was, they'd probably want to kill her, because her betrothed and her father are very hated among the werewolves. So there's a lot of that. So, yeah, I loved this. Again, like I will say, very Highlander romance aesthetic. And then also this gave me major ACOTAR vibes, because I was already seeing another side character that was giving me major Rhysand vibes. And that I think it basically was kind of setting up a love triangle. So I think this romance was a lot more strong, a lot stronger than the ACOTAR first book, you know, because I just never fully bought into Tamlin from the start. But I really loved Callum, and I thought they had amazing chemistry, but you can definitely see that she has major chemistry and something deeper connection with Blake, who is another character that's kind of darker, has shady, does some shady shit, not totally loved by everybody, and he has his own agenda. So, and things happen at the end of this that could tie them together. So that's all I'll say. So I will say I had a great time. I gave this 5 stars. The audiobook was fantastic. It had duet narration with Shane East. And did I write who else narrated this here? I'm sorry, I forgot to put it here, but it did have duet narration. I think it was Zara Hampton Brown. I think that was the other narrator. But Shane East was so great as Callum. And then I think the next audiobook is going to have 3 narrators. So that kind of clues you into the love triangle situation. So 5 stars, 2 chilies, loved it. And then the last one that I need to bring up is I just read a quick little novella fanfic. And this is One and Done by PacificRimbaud. And this is a Draco and Hermione one. This is an Office Place situation here. Draco has been pining after Hermione. She always wears these sexy lingerie under her robes, even though she dresses very plain and like normal. She does like these sexy boudoir like photos to kind of just for herself. And she accidentally switches envelope, gives him the wrong envelope. So Draco sees these, and that like kind of kicks things off between them, where he's like, you know, and she hasn't gotten off with anybody in a really long time. So he kind of offers himself up. And so they kind of start this fling. And then she realizes, you know, her and Draco are really perfect together, and that he's really been crushing on her for a while now. So it's really cute, super quick. I had read the one, I think it was Percy and and Pansy, and it was like the one after that PacificRimbaud did after this one. So when I remember at the fanfic readathon, I saw somebody bring this one up, so I was like, oh, I need to read that one. So I really enjoyed it. Again, I don't give my ratings for fanfics here, but I would highly recommend it. And it was super cute, spicy, good time, and always fun. So anyways, those are all the books that I read. I did just finish one book last night, but I decided to hold off on it because it was late last night. So I didn't include that here, but it's Michaelia Smeltzer's new romance, and I kind of don't know what I want to rate it. I'm struggling. So that's kind of why I'm holding off, because I need to think about how I want to rate this, because it is a brand new release. So I think it'll be better for me to go do my review next week once it's already out. That way I can dive into all my feelings. It'll be interesting. I don't know. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. As always, I appreciate you. You know, I did notice, I've seen some other people talk about this, is the hype video. If you can hype my video, that would be great. I have no idea what it really does on YouTube, but it's like down by like the comments. If you hype my video, I don't know. please, like, maybe try it. I don't know if it gets me out to more people or if it helps the algorithm. I have no idea what the hype the video does, but if you could do that, that would be great. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one.